All right, good morning. The Committee on Parole is called to order. Today is Monday, November the 14th, 11:33 a.m. My name is Brendan Kelsey, be chair. Along with me is Ms. Bonnie Jackson, Ms. Pearl Wise, Tony Marabella, Chair Renatza. Staff support seated at DOC headquarters at Baton Rouge. Our remote location is Raymond Laborde. With staff and support there, please introduce yourself.
Morning, Mr. Kelsey. Warden Marcus Myers. Deputy Warden Keith Turner.
Raven Heath classification. Heather Dobson records.
All right, ready for our first case. Please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record.
Ronald Johnson, 572039.
All right, Mr. Johnson, you heard the introductions. We're going to be your parole panel. We'll ask you some questions. You can respond. At the end, you can make a statement. We'll take a vote. You understand the process?
Yes, sir.
We have Mr. Victor Johnson, I think will be here just listening in, brother, for support. Ronald Johnson, DOC number 572039. You're a fourth class offender. Parole eligibility date 4/15/2022. Good time date 8/15/2027. Full term date 7/15/2028 on a 10-year sentence. Illegal possession of stolen things, unauthorized use of movable, theft of auto, attempted theft, principal to attempted theft, racketeering, conspiracy to commit theft, illegal possession of stolen things, aggravated flight from officer, habitual offender, hit and run driving. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, would you please answer Ms. Jackson's questions?
All right, Mr. Johnson, good morning.
Good morning.
How old are you?
36.
And you received a 10-year sentence on all of these charges?
No, ma'am, on the hit and run, aggravated flight.
But I mean, all of these charges, you have a total sentence of 10 years. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, with the violation of my parole.
Correct. How much time have you served on the 10 years? How much time have you served?
4 years and 4 months.
So you and some others were running a car theft ring in New Orleans. What was up with
Yes,
that?
We had a illegal chop shop going on.
Obviously, well, why? When did
Buying,
all this,
with buying cars, stolen cars, tagging them, reselling them.
well, how long had you been doing that before you got caught?
A little bit over 2 years.
And how did you get involved in that kind of activity?
From some neutral friends.
Okay. So where were y'all? Who was the leader?
A judge.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna get into that because I don't want you to say something about someone that might not necessarily be true. So you're a fourth offender, so what were your other crimes?
A simple burglary, 2 counts of aggravated flight, and the racketeering for auto theft, conspiracy, and possession of stolen property.
You were on probation 4 times, but you ended up getting revoked on all of your paroles. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that your only form of employment, running the chop shop?
No, currently I was working at Outback Steakhouse as a cook through work release.
You're confusing me now. When you were on the street, before you got busted for all of this stuff, what kind of work were you doing besides stealing and reselling cars? Was that your only work?
No electrician helper.
Okay, you've been trained for that?
No, man, I was helping. I was the electrician helper, but I was learning.
How far did you go in school?
Graduated high school,
Okay, and after graduating from high school, what did you do?
started working with Habitat Command, help building houses for Section A.
Okay. Were you involved in drug use?
No, ma'am, never used drugs.
Use drugs? Did you use alcohol?
No, ma'am.
So substance abuse has never been a problem for you, is that correct?
That's correct, ma'am.
Well, over the last little over 4 years, what are some of the things that you've done since being incarcerated? What's your job at the prison now?
I'm on the road crew.
How long have you been on the road crew?
A little bit over 2 years. I've
Okay.
been a trustee for 2 years and 9 months. I've been on the road crew a little bit over 2.
Okay, glad to hear that you're a trustee. Are you a Class A trustee?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of programs have you taken? I see some programs, Inside Out Dads, Page Your Age, Men's Work, Nurturing Parenting, and AA and NA. But that's all that you have. So tell me what's Men's Work, what's that about?
Men's work help deal with all bases with your anger. They help deal with your children and shows you different ways to cope with your anger, shows you your triggering points of your anger.
Okay. Do you have children?
Yes, ma'am. 5.
And you have 5 children and you don't answer that. How many mothers?
3, 1 deceased.
Where and who has her children or her child?
The grandmother,
How old are the children?
the one whose mother deceased. That's my oldest son. He 13.
Okay, what about the other 4?
I have 3 girls after him. They have the same mother, and I have one more son.
Well, what are their ages?
My oldest son, that's with his grandmother, he's 13. My oldest girl just made 12. I have a 10-year-old girl, a 8-year-old, and I have a 7-year-old son.
And do you have any contact with those children or the mothers of those children?
I didn't hear your question, ma'am.
I said, do you have any contact with those children through their mothers?
Yes, all of them.
And what kind of contact do you have with them?
Basically checking on, making sure they stay active in school,
Do
checking
you
on them.
talk to them on the phone?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Every day, every other day.
All of them?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you take Cage Your Age? Think anger has been a problem for you?
Yes.
Okay, and how did that show up in your life? Anger being a problem, how did that show up in your life?
True. My anger became a problem in 2009 when my ex-girlfriend committed suicide.
Is that
Okay.
the one who is the mother of the 13-year-old?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. We got a pretty complicated life, Mr. Johnson, and I don't know how much of it I want to unpack. All right. What program has meant the most to you that you feel like has helped you the most?
Cage of Rage. Cage of Rage, because it helped me. It helped me identify the things that trigger my anger, and it helped me lower them status, and it helped me to challenge the negative thoughts and behavior.
Are you familiar with thinking for a change?
Yes,
They offer it there,
yes, ma'am.
and you've not taken that, is that correct?
Yes, because he told me it's basically what I took Cage of Rage.
You have one write-up, and that was for fighting. What do you want to tell us about that?
Yes, I had a write up for fighting. I think it was in June of 20. I had a misagreement with another inmate, and it resulted into words being said, and it got a little physical.
When was that?
I said it had resulted to words being said. And
What
it
year
was
was that? What year was that?
2020, June.
Okay. When did you take Cage of Rage?
I took Cage of Rage this year.
So when you had that fight, you hadn't had Cage of Rage yet.
No, ma'am.
So how would you handle a situation differently today?
I'll talk. I'll talk it over. If both of us are calm head and feel we could talk. If I feel like we can't talk it over at the moment, I'll address it later on that day when we feel like we both calm down.
Warden, what can you tell us about Mr. Johnson?
Well, Mr. Jackson, he's done pretty good since he's been here. Like you say, only one write-up, and it was a fight. I condone if those things do happen. That's his only disciplinary write-up that he's had. He is a trustee, works on our road crew, our litter details, goes to work every day, does a good job. He's taking some good programming. He hasn't been a trouble offender. I think he's trying to do the right thing. He's currently in our pre-release program, and he'll finish that, I think, next week. So we'll see him do that. And my only recommendation, I know you mentioned thinking for a change, and not that I disagree with that, but it is pretty similar to Cage of Rage and men's work. I would recommend that we put him through victim awareness, because he, through all the things he did, stealing and robbing and doing, there were a lot of victims I think he doesn't realize that he had, and I think that would benefit him. And we do have him on backlog for that currently, and can probably get him into it, I believe, next month. But that would be my recommendation, no matter what the board's decision is today.
Warden, thank you. I appreciate your input. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. That's all I have.
Okay, Janitor, Mr. Renats has a question for you.
Well, I had it really, it's up to Warden. Warden, in the record, there's an indication of investigative, protected or investigative segregation back in August of 22. Can you give us any information on that?
You said August of 22, Mr. Knox?
Right.
Yes. From, let's see, it was from,
Remember what you was in investigation for?
Yes,
What was it?
investigating for they picked 9 of us up. They talking about it was some with AS and R. They said they
Oh, I think I don't have that in front of me, but and that's kind of what I thought it was with the road crew. We had suspected some drugs being entered into the facility through the road crew. And so we placed several offenders, including Mr. Johnson, in segregation while we investigated that, but we did not come up with anything to show that he had done anything wrong.
All right, thank you. That's all I needed.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we'll hear from Mr. Randy Meyer now.
Good morning, Randy Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. I was listening to YouTube, got on this late, and I apologize for that. The reason though is I was told that Mr. Johnson was removed because of the disciplinary report, which might be what Ms. Renata was just inquiring about. And the file was not in the Google Drive, so I didn't have an opportunity to review his programs and that sort of thing. But listening to what he had to say and what the warden had to say, I looked at his the commitments on his cases out of Jefferson, and he's pretty close, if right at completing the sentences out of Jefferson Parish. I have no information on the other parishes, so I would just say I would defer to what the warden had recommended, and appears that would be appropriate. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Johnson, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
go ahead.
I like to say that over the years at Raymond LeBoer Correction Facility, I have grown as a father and a human being, and realized that my action was not appropriate as a man raising children. And I apologize to my victims and the court system for wasting a lot of time.
All right. Thank you so much. It's a power try to vote. Ms. Jackson.
Yes. All right, Mr. Johnson, my vote today would be to grant your parole conditioned on completion of pre-release and victim awareness. I do believe that would benefit you, particularly victim awareness. Your trustee, you have one write-up. You are moderate risk, but we really have no victim opposition. Most of them did not respond, and the one who did not have any comment. She leave the decision. So my vote today would be to grant additional upon completion of victim awareness and pre-release.
All right, Ms. Wise.
Mr. Johnson, I'm inclined to concur with my colleague. In addition, if you like law enforcement opposition, and that's unusual. The judge was unopposed as well to your release. My vote is to grant on the conditions previously stated.
Mr. Marabella.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My vote likewise would be the same conditions that he complete the pre-release program he's in now, and that he undertake and complete victim awareness.
Ms. Renata.
My vote, Mr. Johnson, is the same. After you complete those programs, you have positive remarks by the warden, you've got a good conduct record, achieved and maintained trustee status, and there's no express victim opposition. So I would add those special conditions, no contact with any of the victims. Good luck.
All right, Chair, for vote to grant after completion of victim awareness, I vote to grant as well. After completion of victim awareness and you have no contact with victims, you'll also have a curfew from 9 p to 6 a unless you're at work or church. You get your PO and work that out. So 5 votes to grant, your parole's been granted after completion of that class. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you.
All right,
And we'll
thank you.
adjourn at 11:53. Thank you, Ford.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, bud.
Well, what do you think?
that started off, certainly didn't start off that well. Interesting that his boss of his chop shop was a judge. That could have gone sideways quick. But what do you think about the being granted parole?